Mr. Mayor and City Council members, thank you for this opportunity. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I had paragraphs, and I'm not going to do paragraphs. I'm just going to go down my list the way it's come up the last couple of days.
Could you identify yourself for the
Oh,
record?
I'm sorry. I'm Elizabeth Joanne Fineron, and I am one of the arrestees. The police chief mentioned maybe what could have been done better. I would just like to add to his list the possibility that any parade organizers would wear identification and would identify themselves when asked who they were. That was what I was trying to do most of the time, was find out who these people were and why they were telling us to leave their parade. And I kept trying to tell them we had a permit, and I just kept getting yelled and screamed at in 3- and 4-word sentences. Get off the street, get out of the parade, you don't have a permit. Never any dialogue. I saw my friend with her arm twisted way above her back, and I asked the officer, this particular officer, who's I haven't named yet, but I will be happy to today if that's what we need to do. I haven't come forward before because of the trial. But anyway, I asked for, I went back and got a pad, a pencil, and paper, and I asked for his badge number, and I asked for his name. And after some quiet discussion and him ignoring me and yelling at people, he flashed his badge and said, "This badge doesn't have a number." To this day, I don't know what that means. Maybe someone can explain it to me. He had a vest on. I then asked him, probably not the smartest thing to do, but I did say, "Why are you hiding your name?" The next thing I know, as the picture showed, I am grabbed under both arms. I have not sat down, even though this police officer says in his report she sat on the ground in front of oncoming parade traffic, to include vehicles, and refused to move. We asked her numerous times to stand up and leave, and she refused. We then took her by her arms. I was standing up the whole time. If I tried to sit down, I have diabetic neuropathy to above my knee. It grows. I've been diagnosed since 1991 with diabetes. I have limited sensation in my left leg. I could not keep up with them. They moved so fast. I went down. It was mentioned yesterday about why I didn't say "you're hurting me" or something. I don't think I had time to. I mean, it happened so fast, and they were not walking. They were running me across the street. Okay, I just don't want to miss anything, I'm sorry. It was never my choice, although the word was used today, to sit down at any time. I weigh 220 pounds. I would not sit down and expect 2 policemen to pick me up and carry me off. I worry if I'm going to be in a fire, how firemen are going to get me out of the house. So I would not do that, I'm sorry. I never deliberately sat down. After I was pushed into the curb and they left, they didn't even arrest me then. What did I do so bad that they didn't arrest me but dragged me across the street? And then they walk away. And I thought, no, I'm watching the wound. I'm watching it get redder, bloodier, and bigger. And I thought, this isn't going to happen. I want to go to court because I want an opportunity to stand up there and to be able to explain what happened. My day in court. Mark mentioned what it's called, and all I can think of is, I can't think of what it's called. But anyway, okay, I want to keep going. It was at that point, no matter what the Gazette said, I did not wake up that morning and say, Elizabeth Fineron got up that morning and decided to get arrested. It was at that point, when I was laying on the curb, that I decided I'm going to get arrested. And so I did get up and I did go looking for policemen. I never approached that policeman again, even though he says I went up to him and asked him. I think he heard that from someone else, because I was afraid of him. I didn't want to go near him again. I'm sorry, but there is a rogue policeman. And what I don't like about what's happening is many policemen are getting put into a bundle. I think there might have been 2 policemen that were totally out of line, screaming and yelling. The other one didn't have anything to do with me, so I don't know anything about him. But anyway, I'm hurrying. Okay. Oh, I wanted to say that not every policeman was acting. I went up to a group of policemen. There were 4 of them. I felt comfortable with them. They weren't screaming at me. They weren't yelling at me. And I asked them, what did I need to do to get arrested? And the policeman answered me. Some policemen heard him and a couple others didn't. And he said, well, I suppose if you assaulted a policeman. I was very comfortable with these policemen because they weren't screaming at me. And the policeman was standing next to me, and I tabbed him. Now, I have heard push from one policeman, strike from another policeman, assault a police officer, and yesterday I heard in this room punch a few times. I never punched a police officer. I touched him with 2 fingers, and I turned to the policeman, and when he said, well, I suppose if you punch a police officer, if you assault a police officer. I said, I assaulted a police officer. He said, now you're arrested. And almost every policeman says, I walked off peacefully. Isn't it amazing what can happen when they're not screaming and yelling at you, and you don't know what's going on, and you're scared to death? Okay. The policeman that I touched himself says that I jabbed him. He does not say I punched him or I did anything to him. I know his name. He was very, very polite. The policeman that walked me off was very polite. Okay, I'm almost finished. Okay. The policeman said I walked away peacefully. Okay, let me go to the top again, or on the side here. If I did punch a police officer, then why was I not arrested for assaulting a police officer? Because those 4 police officers knew I did not punch anybody. And the police officer I touched knew. And I just have to say this because I felt yesterday, I mean, it's very hard, it's hard. And I agree with what Jim said. All we're trying to say is let peace be in this city, the word. I mean, and I feel like what happened to us was because we brought peace into the parade. Maybe I'm wrong, and I'm willing later on after the trial to talk to anybody that wants to talk to me.
Thank you, Elizabeth.